Yes. Hello? Can you hear me? I wasn't able to do it the way I want, so now I have to think about something else. I have a brand new phone, so I rather not break it while doing my own setups. Mm. I think, yeah, I think this might be the best I can do right now. Can take it a little, okay. Um, Okay, and then, oh wait, I need that puzzle. Okay, now I'm here. I'm sorry for the delay. I just, yeah, I didn't check the time and I was just like waiting for 1 more hour that we start. Yep. Yeah, that's why I chose this puzzle because for some reason, like this kind of things and also the letters, they are like just very hard.
And I hope it's going to be alright. It should be alright now. Uh, okay. So if you can hear me now, please tell me. Uh, is there such a delay that... Wait. There's a problem. I'll have to check because I think the video that is on the live stream is like not up to date. So the strangest... Oh wait, I know what's all about. Is it okay now? Sorry for not understanding how to technology. Can we see and hear us ourselves? We should. In like 5 seconds, let me see if... Yes, alright. Everything is working. We can start. Alright, so let's unpack the puzzle. Oh wow. And one question is, do you want to have, because this is the other idea that I had today, do you want to do like a speed run with like in sections? So let's say that you'll be not competing, sorry, you'll be assembling the sky, right? And when you're done, we stop and we talk about what happened. Is it okay for you? And before each section, we can also talk about how to approach a section. And when I see that during one of the sections you have some trouble, or I see that there is something that can be done differently, then I will just say stop, and you'll go from the speed puzzling mind to like slow motion again.
Yeah, but how do you want to? Because I think before, when I did this puzzle, I actually did the sky and the roofs at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
So is it okay if we stop then?
Right, we can do that. I think when it was the first time when I did this puzzle, I also did them at the same time. Yeah, we can try to do that. Yeah, I think we will see. We will see how it goes.
How many sections are you thinking about?
How many?
Like the sky, yeah, like the sky, maybe the roof.
Yeah,
because I would do, I maybe separate, yeah, if I would do it now just by myself, I would probably separate it like the sky, maybe the roof, and then the green parts, and then the rest of the buildings, then the bottom of the puzzle, and finally the chairs and the tables.
But would you separate the greens all in one go, or would you just take the brightest greens and leave the rest till last?
I think I would at least take all the pieces together and at the same time. I think I would try to fix them at the same time.
Right. Okay, I am so happy that we have this talk right now. Because I would say that since we have this greenery part that is, I would say, in 2, maybe 3 main places, and then we have some of them scattered all around, I would be more inclined to looking at this greenery as a completely different puzzle. Let's say that this puzzle is not this puzzle, but is something different, right? And we can imagine that the green section, the brightest one that is under the rooftop, let's say this is yellow, and the other 2 that are beneath them, they are some kind of red section in different puzzle, right?
Yep.
Because we can already see that those textures are so different in color and in... the texture is different texture, but you know what I mean. This is very dark and gloomy, but those brighter pieces are also very sharp, and they have like yellows and reds to them, and also there's this white lines. I don't know what it is, but this like the section that is right under the greenery on top. So what we
Yeah.
can do is we can kind of think about this greenery as and this is also very often applied to puzzles that have so much of leaves, plants, flowers, everything. If you have so much of this one thing, you can already start and try to look for different things, right? This is obvious. If we have a puzzle that we, I think this will be a great example. So with this, maybe like this. With this, right? This is so much green, right? But what we can do, we can already tell that this section is it's hard to see on my camera, but this section is lighter. This one is more yellow, and this is what we would do, right? If we had so much green. So why won't we do it with this green, right? We always, I mean, at least that is what I do. We always have to try to, if we are trying to sort, right, to see subsections, and this is probably what you do with like every puzzle that you do. But what is important to remember is that if the section is really large, and in this example we can see that the greenery is very irregular, I would separate them, or maybe not separate them from each other, but just take this one section of the greenery that is closest to what you already built, right? And
Okay.
and the darkest pieces from the green are kind of confusing because you have them in three different. Maybe I can show it on the camera. Oh, why this is so bad? We can see that it's like in this section, and this section. Even though this part of the leaves belongs to this section, right? This is also very dark, and it will be very difficult for us to say by just looking at the piece where it goes. And we have two options, right? We can either try to solve those plants by looking at the background. So we will be looking at the walls, and the walls are actually in different colors. Or if we have this greenery that you mentioned, that you will be just taking this and this together, we'll see, right? Because the differentiation is so obvious that if we have a huge pile, it will be obvious what goes where. But at the same time, why did we spend so much time on trying to have this big pile if we can just avoid it, right? If we take a big pile of the greens, like looking at it objectively, it will take more time, because if you are taking pieces just for this, it will take like, I don't know, X amount of time. But if we are taking all of the green, then it will take like, I don't know, X plus 50% of X. And then if we have this big pile of green, and then we have to pick from this pile of green the lightest ones to go to the rooftop, then we add another some percentage of the X, right? So if we just take this one section, we just spend X amount of time on this. And this is what I will try to do for this puzzle and this assembly, to go so much analytical and in detail as much as possible. So we'll see how it will go. If we do the sky and the rooftops at the same time, probably we'll have some pieces that already will be connected to the green. So I think we'll just have to stop and see. Yeah. Any questions?
I don't think so.
Right. Okay, so let's start with
Oh, yeah,
this.
one more question. What about the what's the word? Borders. edge pieces? Like, are we doing them at first, all of it, or just the sky part, or?
Okay, so I would say, and this is actually a flashback to what my puzzling journey was, because this is the exact puzzle that changed my view of how to tackle the edge. Because at the very beginning, when I was doing this puzzle, I was thinking to myself, alright, since the sections are so distinctive and I can easily tell the sky from the building and everything else, then I can just focus on picking out the sky, right? And
Yeah.
this was kind of fast, right? Because most probably the sky has less pieces than the whole edge that you will need to look for and probably miss some of them. But then, the other thing is that what you have is a pile of like two different types of pieces, right? So we can think about the edge as a different section of the puzzle, even though it's in the same section as the sky. Because we already know that this should go like all around as a border, then we can already have at the very beginning two different piles of the sky. And this is the same section, but we already have some predefined location for at least some of the pieces, right? And we don't have to, again, waste time on picking out the edge pieces from the main pile. If we don't do that and we just assemble the gradient by looking at it, which is awesome, I wish I could do that, then alright, but I would say that if we can have some help, and the help is not something very bougie, that I don't know, we have to collect 4 different sections at the same time or look for certain objects or anything, then what we at least can do, and this will also be very positive later on, because if you just pick out the pieces from the edge at the very beginning from the main pile, your pile becomes it's not smaller, right? So the less pieces you have to look for and to look through means the less time you have to spend on trying to pick out different sections. And then having the border pieces, in case the puzzle is like distinct with the border, which this one is, maybe this one wasn't. Let's go back to this. This one wasn't fun with like uniqueness of the pieces from the edge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that every time picking out the pieces from the border is a positive thing to do, even just for like having some organization since the start. And if you cannot find anything in the main pile, you can just jump right into the edge that you already have. And then if you just jump straight into the edge and doing the edge at the very beginning, and you see it's not going anywhere, you go to the main pile and you take out those pieces, right? And we can make, every time that we get stuck, we can just go back to the main pile and just pick out more pieces and not put them right in where we are puzzling, but like have in mind that we already picked some of it, so we can go back to it later. And we are just like switching, right? We either doing the puzzle or we are looking for something. We cannot allow ourselves to have like a break moment, because if we do, it can result in 2 different things. First one is that it will just go right into our heads, right? And we'll be down and we'll just talk to ourselves that, okay, this is not going well, what am I doing, I don't know. And this is not positive, right? Because it slows ourselves down, and then the outcome is bad, or maybe not bad for us, but it's slower than what we are expecting ourselves to do. And the second option is that if we have this break moment, will lose focus and will try to do many different things at once. Which, if someone is has some predispositions for it, all right. But if someone doesn't, then what we at least can do is like a safety seatbelt, right? If we can at every point while doing the puzzle, we can switch from doing something to doing something else, even if it's a different task. I know in like the last week coaching session, I said that this is not very good to switch between different tasks. But at some point, if you are going really, really fast, and what you are going to focus on mainly is the speed, right? Because at some point, what you are focusing is how to do it as fast as you can, because you have already all the background that you need, right? To like how to solve the different sections, how to see many different sections in the main pile, how to separate them, how to tell them apart, how to position them in different sections of your puzzling area. What we are focusing on is speed, right? At this point where you're getting times like sub 40 almost every time, then this is the most important thing. And yeah. I think that's it. Okay, so what we can do is start the puzzle, right?
Okay.
Sorry if I talk too long.
No problem. So, one more time, like I'm flipping the pieces first, just like always, and taking the edge part, like always. What? Is it edge? What's the? Is it edge pieces?
Yeah, edge
Or what's
pieces,
the
border pieces, edge pieces.
Yeah. I always forget it. So I do it, and then we do the sky, and then we stop.
Yeah. I think I'll stop you right after the full flip, and I'll ask one question, but we'll see.
But after what?
After you flipped or everything, right? If you have a main pile and the edges, I'll stop you and we'll talk about for like 10 seconds and we'll go on.
Okay, and you want me to do some sorting also now?
It depends on you. If you want to do the
Okay.
sorting up front in the same time as doing the edge and you're capable of that, then I don't see a problem with that. But yeah, I would say it's your choice.
Because I actually normally, like, I know I might be using too much time for sorting, because I think normally I start like doing the puzzle at 7 minutes or something, because I'm just like sorting the pieces until that. So I'm wondering, like, do you want me to do as I usually do, or do you want me to do something different?
All right, so I would say that 7 minutes is too much. It depends, like, what is your flipping time, right? Have you ever checked what is your flipping time if you don't sort?
With taking the corner pieces off, it's like 3 minutes 20 seconds or something, maybe.
All right, so 3 minutes 20 seconds. So you add like 3.5 minutes on that to do the sorting. Maybe like not
Yeah, but
after doing the edges, but like it's adding up when you're doing different things at once, right?
Yeah, like I first flip the pieces and take the edge pieces, and then I usually use like 3 to 4 minutes just sorting, and then I have like pretty much all the pieces sorted out. So then I just like start building the puzzle and just taking one pile and doing it.
I see. This is very interesting, but do you consider yourself a very precise puzzler, or very speedy puzzler?
I don't know what you mean.
So if you have a very high precision of taking the pieces in your hands and just being able to do like to assemble them very fast, but without being fast, right? If you look at Kristen from 2022 or Veronica from Poland in 2024, they don't seem to be puzzling fast, right? Their movements are kind of on the slowish side, but their precision in knowing exactly where the pieces go is impeccable, right? And my question is if you are this type of puzzler or the other, which is like very, maybe not chaotic, but you are gaining speed from being very fast with like mechanical movements.
I don't know, but I think like with the best puzzles, when I do the sorting first, and then I maybe plan it ahead, like okay, I'm first doing this, then this, and then this, and once I do the sorting at first, then I just like I can keep the momentum going. Because like if I just take some pieces and then I do it and then I kind of have to stop again to look for another pieces and yeah, so somehow I feel that once I get to do the puzzle, for me it's somehow faster if I can just keep puzzling. But also like at least lately I've noticed that maybe at some point I get actually a little tired and I get slower like after 20-25 minutes or something. So I don't know if it would be a break to sort the pieces in the middle also. I don't know.
So one thing that you could implement is like a very first reaction type of thing, right? If you see a puzzle that you think will be very easy, then I would recommend to do what you are doing right now, right? Because we all know that this kind of puzzling works for you. But then if you mention that at some point you feel like you're slowing down and you would benefit from having a break and doing some sorting, I would do that for the more difficult puzzles, right? So this comes down to being able to tell which puzzles are easy and which ones are difficult. And I think we are able to say more or less if that's the case. So this is the one thing that I would suggest to implement. And for this puzzle, since the sections, as we can see, are kind of unique and very sortable. Yeah, I would say it depends. And we can go deep because with this puzzle, having sky, rooftop, the greenery, the building, the bottom of the puzzle, and the chairs, it's nice. Yeah, it's alright. But if we think about what you mentioned, is that at some point you're feeling like you're slowing down. For this puzzle, most probably it will come to be at probably at the end of the building or during the chairs.
Yeah.
So what we could do is we can actually see, right? And we have to ask you if for this puzzle you always do this full sort that you mentioned.
Almost, yeah. I think that well, yeah, the chairs and the tables, they are like quite big area, so that's like what I leave. I don't touch them at all.
Right.
When I start.
Okay, so this is a very good practice to have like to not sort everything out, but to sort out from, right? And have something left, which is like the miscellaneous part of the pieces. Yeah, so this is very good practice, and this is a great thing that you do that. What I think about the chairs, it will come down to being able to sort the chairs, actually. but I'll show you at the end.
Okay.
And the building part, we'll see how it goes.
But like maybe if you don't want me to sort everything right now, I would maybe at first take the sky and the roof and the green parts.
The which one?
Like the lighter green parts.
Oh yeah. So like in
Of the
between the
building.
rooftops, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Can you actually see those pieces when you're flipping or sorting?
The light green.
Yeah, I know. No. The beige part of the building, like in between the rooftops, right? Because every time I do this puzzle,
Just
I'm
that
not
one, but
able to separate them.
no, I think I can see that one, but the roofs.
Okay.
So there would be like a one empty hole.
Okay. So yeah, so I think it will go like this. We are flipping and taking the edges out. After we've done that, we take the sky edges out very fast from the pile of edges, and then we go to taking out the sky and the rooftops. And before we do, if we have already the whole pile of edges, I would like us to stop, and we will talk about how to take out the sky edges out very fast. And yeah, and then we'll go again, and you'll take the sky and the rooftops out.
Okay.
Right, so let's go.
Okay, I don't have a timer now. And I also have to say that I might be slower than normally because I'm always listening to music when I'm doing this. So I think it gives me also speed. And now I just have to listen to you talking, so it might be slower.
No problem, we are not speeding this per se,
Okay,
right?
let's start. Are you also flipping your pieces?
What am I doing?
Flipping your pieces.
Yeah, I'm flipping as well, but already trying to look at your camera to see how you're doing.
Ah,
So I probably won't be finishing that before you.
okay, yeah, that's why I asked. Like, I wanted you to tell if you're like 2 minutes before ready than I am.
Is this the usual way you are flipping your pieces?
Yeah.
Always in this position, or sometimes more to the left?
Normally to the right because I do the puzzle to the left.
Oh, okay. All right, so let's stop for now.
Okay.
And now the thing is, when we look at the pile of the edges that you have on the left,
Yep.
do you think this pile is maybe not correct, but could it be better, or what's wrong with the pile of edges?
Most of them are the wrong way.
Yeah, so this is one thing, but this is very easy to fix if we just like repeat some training tactics. But the other thing is that you could try to do better with the flipping, and also this will come down to better sorting as well. Is that if we are taking the pieces out from the main pile, right? I will be just taking the edges that I missed. What we can do, and the edges is like the best thing to practice that with, because at some point when you have so many different small sections, it doesn't really matter. But with the edges, what you can do is each time you have a handful or 2 hands full of pieces that you sorted out, what you can do is to try to place those little piles next to each other. Right? So no, not on top of each other, because we don't want them to pile up.
Okay.
And that will help us with mainly one thing, which is if we have a situation that we have so many pieces of the edge or some other pieces of the sections that we are trying to sort out, if they are not flipped correctly, then we will have to like waste much more time on trying to flip them over again, right? But if it's spread out already, like you have your pile on the right, then it becomes much easier. So this is one thing that it helps us with. And the other thing is that if we have an ability at some point to be able to sort all of the pieces and have them in the right orientation on the pile that we are sorting out, then it will help us, at least in the edge, this is like the most prominent example, to pick out the edges that we want to have separated from the main pile of edges. And this is exactly this type of puzzle that is going to benefit from that. So if I'll just move those, if we have this many pieces, right? They shouldn't be as spread out as I have them right now, but what I want to show you is that if we have this situation, right? And we have so many pieces that I would say it's almost a half of the edges, right? The blue edges. What we can do, and this is a very good tactic for actually most of the puzzles, aside from the puzzles that have a very difficult and not really distinct sections of edge, is to try to at least have your edge sorted in some strange way in correct spots. So if you have a puzzling section, and my section is to the right, it's right here, but it's a little bit cropped because my camera got squished. What we can do is we can try to pick out the blue pieces to the top of the edges, right? And then we can try to, if we have time and if we have enough motivation to do this, we can try to take another section of the edge to the bottom or maybe to the sides. And yeah, so this is the plan, but how we do it is a totally different thing. So I would like you to flip the edges so we can be on the same stage.
Yep. I usually, when I flip it, like for example, the sky, I would, at the same time when I flip it, I would sort the sky.
yeah, so if you're great with doing that, I envy you. So do that.
I think it works quite well.
Yeah, I would recommend you to try to like measure the amount of time that you need for flipping and sorting the sky with the edge and doing it after you sorted just the edge. The statistics are going insane. The statistics can do so much. And there are so many different examples of me being so sure that I do something faster one way, and then I checked to like with data, and it was like it was so much slower. So
Yeah.
I would recommend doing that at some point. And now, since we have the edges, what we can do is there are like two different stages of trying to separate different sections of the edge or something from the pile that we sorted from the pile. And the first stage is we are just taking those pieces in our hands, in like just the tips of our fingers. Some of them. If we are overloaded, we just throw them away. We do it for some time, and then when you look at this, what we can do is no longer go for those blue pieces and go to the stage 2. And the stage 2 is to take the pieces that are not sky, right? Move them aside and just take the blue pieces out.
Yeah.
So this makes us faster, right? If we have like those two different kinds of sorting the pieces from the pile, it will go much faster, because when we think about just one thing, we'll always, maybe not always, but like most of the time, we'll try to go for complete sort, right? Which is, let's say I want to take all of the pieces from this, what I have right here, that have, I don't know, the let's say the bottom of the edge, right? So like the white tiles. So what I would do is I would try to look at this and be like, can I do it faster than just picking it out? And what I can see right now is that most of the edges that are in this pile right now, that I am interested in, are outside of this pile, right? So if I just do that, like this, and they are out, and I just take this, and they are out. We always have to adjust to what we currently have. And this is actually what is very important at the very, very fast times. Because at some point, people will realize that even if you are very, very fast, it doesn't really matter if you don't have luck. Because luck plays a big role in speed puzzling. If you don't have luck and you are just like walking misfortune, then your pile will be very, very like intertwined. So you won't have this easy movement of just like grabbing some of them and moving them aside, or like picking the pieces out. Sometimes they all can be closer to each other, sometimes they'll be more spread out, and it will take more time. And like, if you're very speedy and you have very speedy opponents, then the one who is more lucky probably will get the trophy, right?
Yeah.
So I would like you to try to separate the sky from the pile.
Actually, can we have a like 1 minute break? Because I just
Yeah.
realized that my battery is running low, so I have to get a charger.
No problem.
Okay. So just the blue part.
Yeah, so try to pick them out at the very beginning from like one side, from the bottom or from the top. And then when you have like only half of them left, try to just pick out the other pieces from the left pieces that are like on that side.
Okay. Can I do it now?
Yeah.
Can I do it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So did you do that? Because I think that you already just picked out them in the same way.
I did what I was supposed to do.
So what I wanted you to do was to be, I will just mix them again. To try to use the stage 2. So the stage 2 was to
Right.
abandon the picking out and go.
Oh yeah, I like try because there were some on the borders, so I just did like this.
Okay. So now I will just do it again. Right. Okay, so right now, if we have the sky at some stage, we have the edges here and the other edges here. We can do the sorting that you want to do, and this is what you always do. Again, like we don't have to separate the edges before we do the sorting, but if we want to have some differentiation and not like to over sort at the very start, we can sort something that we already have, which is the edges, and this will like kind of calm ourselves down with because if we always do the same thing, which is sorting or assembling, it can be tiring, as you said. So variety is good. I will try to do that. So to the sorting, right? We are taking the sky and the rooftops, right?
Okay. And I do it now.
Yeah.
I have to say that I think I'm not that good at recognizing the pieces, and I think that's also one reason why I do the sorting at first because well, for example, now when I start doing the edges, I normally always first do the sorting, like quite good sorting before even starting the edges, and so when I have sorted like most of the pieces before I actually start the puzzle, I'm like 99% sure I actually have all the pieces included in that area, because now that I'm just taking a few pieces from there, there's still so many pieces. So I'm sure that there are some, at least rooftop parts left there. And now that I'm used to it, because also like, now that I've been practicing with Emilia, doing the puzzles together, I find it very difficult to do the edges if there's like 1 or 2 or 3 pieces missing.
Yeah.
And then I just get stuck like, I no. This is not like anything is not working because now I'm used to it. That I usually have all the pieces there when I start doing it, so I don't have to worry about it like normally.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. I was kind of the same way for the longest time, and I always had to have everything before I started doing something. Uh, and right now, I would say it changed, but but not in a way that I am right now good with assembling the section that is that I don't have like all of the pieces for, because I don't think it will ever be easy for me. But what helps is that when you are, maybe not when you are aware, but what you need to do is to convince yourself that you always are missing something. And with this kind of mindset, what it will do, most probably, if you do it enough times, will be like, how to say it in English? This is, wait, I have to think. What it will do is that you'll be able to switch. We already mentioned the switching, right? But the switching is very important in sections that we sorted, but we don't necessarily know if all of the pieces are here. Because if we have the comfort of knowing that not having everything doesn't mean we are not able to complete something, it will boost our speed. But at the same time, if we are like we both are people that will just like be stuck in our heads that, oh, I don't think I have everything and I have to look for it, this is okay. But what we have to remember is that if we want to come back to sorting, or we decided that, okay, I'm finished with sorting and right now I am assembling something and I'm seeing that I am missing something, we have two options. We can either ignore it, which is difficult, or we can go back to sorting, or not sorting, but like try to look for this. But then we have to think about, would we do it with the edge, right? Because if edge is difficult, if we see that we don't have something in the edge, we just don't do the edge, right? So this is the logic that we have to apply for everything. And what we can do to accelerate despite deciding that we don't want to do something, since we don't have all the pieces, we can go back into sorting. And I think this is what you also do sometimes, is that when you have, like, let's say we have those two piles right now, so like the rooftops and the sky, and let's say we are starting with the sky, and it's not working because we see that there's something missing, or we started doing the edge from the sky and it's not working for whatever reason, even if we have everything. Then what we can do is decide, okay, it's taking like 2 seconds too long, I'm going back to the main pile, and the main pile will be now much smaller and reduced, right? Because we already picked something out. And now what we have to do is not to look for something that we are missing, but to sort something new, right? So if we are missing the sky and we are missing something from the rooftops, and we see that while doing the sky or the edge, we go back to the main pile and we, for example, take out those very bright greens. And when we are doing that, we will 100% see the pieces that we are missing. Maybe not all of them, maybe like 90% of them, but it will boost our morals that we found something that we are probably missing, and it will help us like stay in this very speedy mode. Yeah. I'm very bad in like finishing what I'm trying to say, but this is the end of what, what I'm trying to say. So, what would be your next step?
The sky edges and the sky.
The sky edges. So probably following the gradient on like two sides and then doing the solid one.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we can do just that. So let's start with this, and we will see how it goes. So now we are following the gradient, right? Going from the top with the darkest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Do you have any thoughts about the sky? Maybe something as simple as it was very easy.
I think this sky is quite easy because there's not like even if there's not so many different shades, there's not so many pieces either.
Yeah, I would agree. With this kind of sky, it is very beneficial to just maybe not try to go line by line, but at least every time you take the pieces in your head, in your hand, you know more or less where it goes, right? If it belongs to this line or that line. And I wouldn't say that everyone is looking at the sky and like doing the gradients in the exact same way. I don't know about you, but what I just said is not what I'm thinking while puzzling this, because I am just looking at the color and not thinking like about what was the line and which the line it is supposed to go. I'm just like looking at the adjacent pieces, right? And I think you do that too. You're not analyzing it line by line.
No.
Yeah, so this is a great tip for anyone. If you're trying to do this sky, you can either try to be very analytical about it and to just look at the lines, or always try to just assemble the next piece to the adjacent ones. They try to, at least in this sky, don't really try to do the islands of like the lightest and the darkest pieces. I mean, you can, but it doesn't really help with anything. It will just most probably create chaos because of that. Right, so going back to what we have the rooftops, right? And what we can already see is that some of those pieces that are the rooftops, they already have this green bits, and we can either separate them out to be more organized, to really double down on the sorting, or we can just try to go by shape. And I would go by shape. Wait, no. I would go for separating the greens, and because I know that they go to the left, and the rest will be like somewhere, I don't know where. But what about you? How would you do this? By shape, or would you go back to sorting?
I'm checking if like it seems like you have more rooftop parts than I do. I don't see that anymore because I think there are not so many. I would just put them to the right places. I wouldn't do any more sorting or anything with this.
Right. So you would just go by shapes. That's awesome. Okay. So let's go by shapes.
So let's
go by shapes, like you normally do. This time I will be stalking you.
So I just do now.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, just by looking at what you just did, I would say that you're definitely the precision puzzler. You don't seem to be very disoriented and disorganized when you're trying to assemble the pieces that have the rooftops, and that's what makes you very fast. So did you go by the different colors of the rooftops or not?
A little bit, yes, because this one is lighter.
Mm-hmm. Right, so this is a good thing to consider. Yeah, what I just saw is also that you're not really using your left hand that much.
Not really.
Yeah, well, for the most part, what I just saw was that your right hand was very precise because it had your like whole focus, but at the same time, your left hand was doing something like this, like
Yeah.
50% of the time. What you could do to maybe, because we are not trying to like puzzle with both hands into different sections because it's like Robocop. I don't know how to do that. But what we could do to save ourselves a little bit of time, it is very little bit of time, but like after 500 pieces, it will add up to like 1 minute, maybe, I don't know. Is that we can, at least if we have this mixed section, if we are going for, let's say, the more orange rooftops, right, we can try to use our right hand to like do that. But at the same time, if we are just going with our eyes like this, let's say we are going like this, and we see this piece was here, right? And we go like this. We go like this with our eyes, and we see this piece that has greenery, but we know we are not looking for it, or it is not as interesting to us. Then what we can do is to have our left hand just like throwing it away,
Oh.
and to be like already have something move to the right direction, and that maybe it will not be very organized, but at least what you just done was to save time on moving the pieces that you basically know where they go, but you didn't have time to like move them aside because you were doing something else. And also it will be great to do if you have the last section of the puzzle, maybe not in this one because this last section is very big. But let's say we have the last section and it's much smaller than the chairs. What you could also do with your left hand is to try to oh wait, this would be your right hand. This is interesting. Have you ever considered puzzling on the right side instead of the left side?
I don't know. Not really. But like I don't have a reason for that, but I just always do it like this.
Yeah, so most of the time, puzzlers who are puzzling on their non-dominant side will be kind of slower. And this is because they don't have anything by their non-dominant hand, which is very important to have, because if we think about it, when we are doing, let's say, this puzzle, and we are just assembling those rooftops, right? What we can do in the same time, if this was the, let's say, last section of the puzzle, and all of those pieces, because we already had the puzzle completed instead, except for this, and those pieces most probably would be somewhere around here, or here, somewhere else. Not very close to our puzzling area, then what our non-dominant hand can do, if we are not yet able to use it to our advantage, I think we'll try to use your left hand as well, but it will be later on. We can try to use the hand to just because what you have right now is that your very good hand is on this side that is like not very interesting, right? You have all the pieces on the right side, but everything you do, you have to move to the left side, right? But will it be faster, like mechanically, to go from this side? Maybe, wait, I am not in frame. From this side and go with everything to your left side and puzzle with your right hand, or to have everything here and be able to move your very good hand in this whole area. This, if you're doing it like this, then you are very closed off because you're either here or here, right? If we want to focus on efficiency when it comes to using our hands, I would say that having pieces on the left side, if you're right-handed, is better. Not only because you can use your left hand to do some very strange tasks that we'll try to do later on, but mainly because you can just like go to this direction, right? You don't have to move, or you don't have to be like this, and you don't have any option to use your right hand when you're already in this position trying to look for something, right? If you are turned into the side that relies on your non-dominant hand, your dominant hand can do everything here. I would recommend you to try to change sides. It won't be faster for like, I think like the first tries because you're so used to it. I think if I were to like have pieces on the right side, I think I would struggle so much. But I think this is a great way to see if that speeds you up if you try multiple times. And if it's more fitting and you feel that you have more freedom. Yeah. So I'll do the rooftops right now because I don't want to be so far back. Just 1 second. Why is this rooftop so difficult?
It's so much pressure now when like you're looking at me puzzling, and I also see it like notice it now that we're like talking and just doing some pieces. It's not like you can get the normal speed.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think we are expecting ourselves to be like in the best speed that we can. Right. Yeah. Now we came to this moment where we have to decide if we are actually going to sort out everything green, or we will sort out only one thing, or if we sort everything but into different piles. Like we did with the sky and the rooftops, right? You had the two different piles.
Yeah, and actually there's also I just noticed when I'm looking at the pieces that some of the flower pieces are also, I think, mixed up with the lighter green hearts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is more because of the experience that I have with this puzzle, but what actually can very speed you up is to collect everything colorful. So if something is in the building, a chair, like very boring piece, if something is a flower or is red or like an orange, we can take everything like this and just have it in one pile, and most probably it will speak to us and it will be like, yeah, assemble me. Because there will be only two, maybe three places for the flowers, and they are actually very easy to do. Even if they look the same, there are only like 10 pieces to assemble. And what it will help us with, one thing, is maybe the flowers on the bottom, the two vases, it won't be very helpful, but the other flowers that are closer to the building, since we'll have something that is closing off the building, it will be easier for us to fill it in. And also, when you look at the image, the flowers are very close to the very distinct objects on the building, right? So we have the door, the white table. What is this? This orange thing. I don't know how to call it, but this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this, and we have some very dark blues on the walls. So it will open up many things, and if we are able to collect those flowers, which will be much harder, it will open up this section, and we will be able to do this wall very fast. So yes, I will recommend to collect everything colorful, and after
So
doing
not just the
that,
flowers, but also the other few small parts.
yeah. But we are doing that because there are so little of them. If there were, let's say, like 10 of them, I would skip it. I would be like, okay, I want to do the background first, because at some point, if even if someone likes puzzles that are very busy, it is not very beneficial to go for the busyness first, right? Because if something is easy, just do the easy part. Yeah, so the colorful things, and after that we will decide if we want to separate the greens right after, or do we want to try to assemble the colorful flowers and the other objects, or to like place them approximately where they should go. So let's take the colorful ones for now.
Let's go.
Also, don't be afraid of picking out the vases. They are also very colorful, so...
Yeah, I'm already having them.
This is a good moment to be like, okay, even if I don't have everything colorful, let's just go to the next thing or try to assemble them already. So if we have something, we go to the greens or try to do the colorful pieces. It's your choice.
I would like to collect the green ones now.
Only the light ones or all of them?
Maybe just the light ones.
Okay. We also have to remember that the light ones have this wiring strange thing, the very white horizontal line to them. It will help us out. Yeah, so actually at this point when I'm looking at the pieces, those very dark pieces are also talking to me, so I would sort them out. Maybe not all of them, but I would at least start a pile of those dark pieces when I am moving through them and I just can grab like 2 or 3, I'll just take those and have like something started here. Yeah.
But what's the point, like, of just collecting some of them?
Because this is, if we are just collecting some of them, we don't want to specifically go to sort some of them. We want to do it in the same time when we are sorting something else. So if we were sorting those green, the brightest ones, right? If we have a handful of them and we already want to go back and just drop it, we can take 2 or 3 pieces from the different pile, right? From the darkest greens, and we can start this pile here. So at some point, the first thing is that if we do that, then we didn't waste the time from going back from the pile to where we are putting the pieces, right? It's like minor, it's like 0.5 second of time. But if we do it each time that we want to like collect something, and we, in the motion of going back, we just take something with us and drop it before we like drop the other pieces, it will go faster with the sorting. And it doesn't really have to be like involved in sorting everything up front, or to just sorting the section that we are interested in. We can do it every time. And when we think about it, if let's say that we have I don't know how many times, but it depends how many pieces we can collect in our hand and how many pieces actually, maybe not how many pieces, but how much luck do we have, because I think you know that, but when we are collecting pieces in our hands, it's not always the same amount of pieces before we realize that it's too much, right?
Yep.
Sometimes the pieces are just like too much and it's only 3 of them instead of 8. So let's imagine that we are doing this sorting, and let's go with your tactic, right? If we just want to sort, maybe not everything, but like most of the thing up close, up front, sorry, not up close, then if we just save those 0.5 second each time, and we are doing like, let's say we collected 10 pieces and it's 500 pieces, then it's 50 times half a second, and it's like 25 seconds saved. And it's a lot. And if you add that to like different things that we can save time on, it's like you're just printing your time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do now?
I would maybe do the light green part first, and then the colorful stuff.
Okay, I'll do the same. I also look how you do it. Yeah, so would you agree that with this puzzle, one of the biggest difficulties, maybe not this puzzle, but like this section, one of the biggest difficulties is that the light green also comes down at the top, like at the other side of the rooftop.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like because there's not actually that many like compared to the rooftop, for example. I think there are not so many more pieces, but I'm always like every time I'm just surprised like because I think that's an easy part like I can just put them there, but for some reason it's just harder than it looks.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, I think this is mainly because of the fact that this horizontal line looks straight when we look very fast on the image, right? When we are speed puzzling, it looks very straight, so that we are expecting kind of to have a line somewhere, but it's like well, it's bendy. It's not straight,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
goes down, and that can throw us off in the very middle of the light green, but also the fact that the green goes up, right? So and also the other thing is that when we look at the section that is in between the rooftops, right? Sometimes those pieces that go that are green and go here can be mistaken for the pieces that go here at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and if there is anything, any way that someone can like see what's the exact difference, um, I would like to know. Because with this puzzle, it's even if you have all the pieces, which none of us did have apparently, because we are missing some, uh, then it's not actually easier. And then, so did it actually this time bother you that you don't have all the pieces from the green?
Mm, I actually think it did because I'm missing two from the left side. I think you are missing the same pieces, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and because like for some reason I was trying to start it from here, and I think I was like stuck there, like okay, nothing is fitting.
Yeah. Yeah, but so how could we fix that? No, one way would be, and it's not very nice, but one way would be to, don't necessarily try to go from the most obvious direction, but it is hard to like think about it when we are speed puzzling, right? Because we are always subconsciously drawn to something, right? And
Yeah.
if those are like pieces that we already have, because this is very tricky, especially here, because when we look at this, we have those very distinct three pieces that have the, I don't know the name in English, but like the rooftop tiles and the green on it. So these are like 3 or 4 pieces here, and we are expecting ourselves that those pieces that go to them, they should be easy to find. And since they are not, we are thrown off. So, what would be the recipe? Always go to the next thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So you mentioned that you want to do the colorful one right now.
Yeah.
So do you sometimes do puzzles in such a way that you have something assembled and you're placing it in the approximate spot that it should go to?
I think quite often, yes. If there's like, for example, for example, the unicorn puzzles. They're usually like I start with the unicorns, and then they're just there waiting to get the rest.
But the unicorns, which one is this puzzle?
Like all the unicorn, like they are just in the middle, and I do it first,
Oh, okay.
and I start the sky or something else.
Okay,
If that's
but
what you
this
mean.
is the situation when the thing that you're placing is relatively big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, this is kind of obvious to do because if maybe not obvious because sometimes I don't do that, but if we are, I'm more of thinking about the the small details. So if we have a very detailed puzzle and we notice something that we, for some reason, managed to recognize on the box, then are you this kind of person that tries to put the piece in this like spot where it should be and just remember not to move it because it's in the correct position, or you're more like I'll come back to this piece later?
I would probably do it if I recognize it, but maybe, well, it depends. Sometimes maybe I try to already spot it to the right place, but not always, I think.
Do you maybe know what is the decision making factor?
Maybe if I'm afraid that, especially if I have all the edge pieces completed, if I'm worried that there will be like too much going on inside the edges, I might not maybe even put it there yet.
All right. So with this puzzle, especially in the colorful section, as we will do, we'll have those like two biggish things going on in the at the bottom of the image, but then we will have those flowers that should be in the middle. And would you place those flowers from the like the bottom of the building in the right spot, or would you just keep it aside, pre-assembled?
Yeah. I think that those that are next to the building, I would like try to already put to their right places. But then those on the bottom, because I know I don't need them just yet. Maybe
Yeah.
I would just keep them somewhere.
Yeah, this is a very good idea. So I would totally do the same. So yeah, just go straight to the colorful section, and we will think about the next move after that. All right, I request a stop.
Okay.
So my question is, are you looking at the image?
Not really at all.
So what I think you just did was the vase, the blue vase, the vase. I don't know how to call it in English, but the other three sections, what are those? Those above the vase. What is this?
The vases and the flowers.
The flowers. Right. So,
Yeah.
well, I would say at least try to look at the box at least once to like give yourself like overview of at least what should maybe not necessarily go where, because we already agreed that the two vases at the bottom can be whatever and in whatever spot, but at least assembling them in like the correct orientation to each other, which is maybe not orientation but like relation. So the blue one more to the right and the beige one more to the left. It doesn't really help with assembling it. It helps with the mindset, because if we already have in like relatively to each other, if they're in correct positions, then our brain is expecting that some of the pieces will automatically go to the right, like the right vase, right? Because let's say that we have those. I don't know if you can. You cannot. Yeah. So if you look at what is happening right now and at my table, I have the right vase just like you do. I have some flowers. This was also a sample. I don't know what happened. What the premise is, and what helps with like doing it faster, is to be consistent, right? Because sometimes not we don't necessarily feel it, but our brains get like overloaded with not being consistent to what we are looking for or what we are looking for at. So in this example, what I just mentioned is that trying to assemble the vases in the right relation to each other in the position section is beneficial, not for like seeing what goes where faster, but to be like mentally more how to explain it, like we'll be more at ease if we just know that if we are looking in our pieces here and trying to assemble something, if we look at the image, because we should look at the image, if you are looking in the same direction, it will be faster for us to like connect those dots between the pieces.
Yeah, and I don't know if you see, but I actually just realized also that because now I'm having like a vase, then I have flowers, and then I have another vase here. It's like and these flowers actually go to this vase, but the vase is like on the top. So
Yeah.
I was automatically trying to like fit it to the bottom, and it's not going that way.
Yeah, so that's why looking at the book is very important, but we already know that. Yeah. I think enough mumbling from me about this. Let's continue with the flowers.
Okay.
You have so much more colorful pieces than I do. I have to look for more.
Like I said, I usually I think I oversort rather than undersort. It means that I rather take too many pieces, even if I'm not sure if they're actually going right here. But I think it's easier just to skip them than to try to find them.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if you are able to like not clutter your puzzling area, all the power to you. All right, so you have some of the sections already in place. From what I can see, you have the door and the red something on the right side, right?
Yeah, and the inboard and yeah, and the flowers here. But there are actually not so many flowers here.
Yeah. So.
Oh,
and now we have two different schools of speed puzzling. Because what we are left with is the building, right? The building consists of the greenery, the details, and the plain sections. So I would say it's totally up to the puzzler what they decide to do with the building. With this one, even though you can actually go with either of them, I would consider the idea of going with the details more beneficial. And why is that? Because the details on the building are big, they are not single pieces, they are very unique, and they are scattered all around the building, right? So you don't only have one section of the building that has those details that can be like very tricky to figure out how to do them. You have so many different things, like you have those pots with flowers. We have the big door. The big door. Sorry, the big door is very difficult, at least for me, to sort out every time I do this puzzle. So it's basically like every time I see a piece for this big door and at the left, I am like, okay, taking you in and remembering that I collected it, but I'm not doing it before I feel like I have most of them. So, but then again, you have those two or maybe three, actually three sections of plain colors, right? You have the most yellowish, brownish one at the right side of the blue, not blue, the red flowers next to the door. Then you have the section at the right side of the yellow window. And then, if we are very specific, we can also say that there is a different section in between those two big green bushes, and the other one which is on top. So we can go both ways. We can either try to look for more pieces that are very specific and colorful and have like different texture, or we can collect all of those that have like no texture. And this is up to you what you want to do.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Do you want to? Do you want to go for
Like
the no texture pieces, or you want to go for the very specific and detailed pieces to open up section of the puzzle?
And which are the very detailed pieces?
Most of them you already have, right? You have the flowers and the doors and the windows. So I would say at your point you could try to go for like maybe you have like 8 or 10 pieces that are kind of in the same style left, and that you can just place where they should go. But honestly, we have two ways at your stage, because my stage is different because I don't have as many different sections. And I would say that you have you either want to go for the plain sections because you already have those details and you can attach those plain sections to them.
Yeah.
But for me, it would be a decision to make if I want to have those plain sections to be able to fill them in with those details, or to build the details and to like wrap them around with the plain sections. So for you, I think there is only one option, which is like try to go for the plain pieces, and if you see something that is also like very detailed or you recognize it, then, but only one thing is that if you see that kind of piece that you recognize, don't try to just take it and place it in. You always have to remember that you noticed something, you collect it as well with everything else, and place it somewhere, wherever you decide to do, where you're placing your pieces. And what it will do is that if you already like recognize the piece in the big pile, and you right now sorted out something as well as the thing that you noticed, if you just place those pieces here or here, and it's like, I don't know, 15 pieces sorted out, it will be even easier to recognize that piece, and you won't be like wasting time on going back and forth with just like one piece to put it because I know where it goes. You will also know like 10 seconds longer, right? It doesn't have to be in the exact same moment. It is good to be able to stack the pieces and to recognize them. But we already did that, right? If we noticed something that we know, it is already done, so we don't have to worry about it. We can just like take everything in, and once it happened, it will happen again.
Yeah. So I was thinking about taking like the building pieces, and maybe because I think there are like maybe 10 to 20 pieces still that I recognize where they go. I try to separate them already when collecting, and then starting with those and then going with the blank ones.
Yeah, so let's collect, but don't stop when we see something very specific. Just take it with us.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to take the same pieces as you, but I also have to take more of them. I'm still finding edge pieces.
No. Are you taking the big door also?
Yeah, I think I have. Oh, well, actually, I have only one piece.
Okay.
But in my head, I had more.
Also, you're already doing it.
Yeah, I probably have less pieces collected, so that's why.
So do I start now too?
Yeah. I'm trying to be slightly ahead so that I can watch what you are doing. But you're too fast.
Yes, super fast compared to you.
We also have to remember that we have the section from the the section that you are just doing in between the rooftops. Because
Yeah.
sometimes one can forget that it's there. I sometimes do that. Also, have you ever had a situation where you forgot that you already sorted something?
Oh yeah, that's so, and it actually, I think it can take a lot of time. Like when you're just like, I don't have these pieces,
Yeah.
and then you look around and you're like, okay, they're there. That's like the most annoying thing.
I think the only way we can avoid a situation like this is to try to how to say it, to like place your sorted piles in the most obvious position that you can think of, but not in a way
Yeah.
that is like distracting you from the things that you are trying to do. So if it's not taking too much space, it is always a good idea to place it in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some. There is so many things that Speed Puzzler can say about like don't put your pieces like in the middle of your puzzle or on top of your puzzle. But in the same time, it's like if you already trained enough to be like, I think I've got this right. It's like. If you can see the pieces, maybe let's leave the example of putting the pieces of the puzzle aside because this is whole another level of what the hell. But with the sorting, right? If we are speedy enough and we are very confident in our skills, then we can try to make those assessments and bad decisions in quotes. So what would be the bad decision for us? It would be to place your pieces in like the middle of your puzzling area. And why this is a bad idea, I think we both know, but it's like because we have if you're this type of puzzler, we have a tendency to like skip some pieces that are not going together very well. But it's a parabolic situation, right? Because we have two different mindsets. Either we are very confident and we know that whatever we take we'll be able to put together so it won't be distracting and it won't be making it more difficult for ourselves. But if we are not that fast or that confident and we keep missing those pieces and putting them in front of us, they will hinder the assembly, right? So speed puzzling actually is just a mind game. And you're battling yourself, not someone else.
Yeah. Are you already doing the cream parts also?
Yeah, I think we can go to the cream part.
Okay.
But with this section, I would say it is very important to not oversort. So just take the most cream parts.
But there are not so many left anymore.
I know, but sometimes with this puzzle, if you just take too many pieces at once, it can get overwhelming, and we are approaching the overwhelming section.
Oh yeah.
So I think at this point I would go for the lower edge to have some structure at the bottom.
Oh, I actually don't have the edges. When did you do those? I only have the sky.
Oh, I don't have the edges yet. I'm just saying that I would gravitate towards doing them right now.
You have the building edges. I don't have even those.
Oh, the building, yeah. So the lower edge can actually kind of give us like a closing point, right? Because I would say that having your puzzle opened up all the time till the very end is not good for like the mental stress. At least for me, if I have the maybe not the edge completed, but if the puzzling section that I'm trying to do is closed off, it's much faster for me because I feel safer. I don't know how to explain it.
I actually like to do the edges quite soon also. Or it depends. Sometimes I do them at last. But not with this puzzle.
Yeah, this puzzle is. I would say for this puzzle, if you are this kind of puzzler that likes keeps track of how many edge pieces you have left, there are some puzzles like this. They just when they are collecting the edges, they are counting how many they collected, so that they know how many they're missing. And this.
Oh, okay. I don't do that.
Yeah, me neither. But I think it's a fun thing to try out at some point. If it actually helps or if it stresses me out. So when we have the edge, after we did the edge, we can easily go for the cream pieces, right?
Yeah. I think I have actually done it before, like doing the all the cream parts before the building, but I think it's easier this way.
To have the vases first?
To do the building first.
Oh. Yeah, the building is quite nice if you are not afraid of it. But I know from experience, like I was so afraid of this building because it had so much green that is very irregular. But actually, if you just focus on the details, it becomes easier because you're just like taking one or two pieces and filling them in.
Yeah.
Okay, I would also recommend taking the dark greens right now. If I think you already did them, right? Yeah.
Yes, I have all the cream.
It's just
So
medium
now it's
slow.
very hot. Yeah, so now basically I only have the chairs and the, well, I would say for these pieces that I have now left, the only ones that I can actually like recognize and that make sense are the ones on the bottom, but there are not so many of those.
The ones at the bottom, which is the ones that have something cream on it, right?
Like the floor pieces, the white.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I will actually always go for when I reach this point. But let me just finish up this section that you already have, so we can be on the same point. One second. Do you have the door? Almost, yeah. Alright. I think we are at the same. Oh wait, you don't have the floor, right?
Oh, you already did it. Sorry, I didn't know you already did it. No.
I thought
So
this
I
is
will-
what you meant by the cream.
Yeah, I was just talking about it. Like that would be the next thing to do for me. I didn't look that you're already doing it.
So I did it when we are talking about the cream edge, I think. And then you
Okay.
started doing the rest of the building, so we just swapped.
Yeah. Okay, are we now in the same place?
Yeah, I think we
Pretty
are.
much.
So the question would be, maybe before I say what for me is the best tactic for this section, what would you do at this point?
Get very desperate.
But
Yeah. Well, maybe I would try to take out the pieces with the brown
mhm.
or beige, but it still takes time for me to put them to the right places. So it's not like maybe the best plan.
Yes, I would say that the brown is kind of a good idea, but only to a certain point. So, if we look at the pieces that have brown, right? We can
Yeah.
see or we can imagine that those browns are two different types of browns. The first type is the table,
Yeah.
the brown tables, and the other brown is the parts of chairs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this distinction is very important for us. And the other thing is that we can look for the most white pieces. White, not cream, not beige, white. So this is like a section number 3 to sort out. The other thing is what we really want to do after finding and assembling those tables is to look at the background, not to try to look at the chairs and solve the chairs. We want to look at the background. So we want to look at the floor. If we can find pieces that still have a very big section of the floor, this has to go somewhere to connect somewhere to what we already have, right? So the other thing is that we also have the shadows. And this is also the floor, right? So if we already have the pieces that are cream and belong to the floor, what will always connect to them is the shadow. And we should have like 10 pieces of shadows.
I only see 3.
Maybe you already assembled some of them? Yeah, you did.
So,
Yeah, as I think you have like 3 more or 4 more than I do, so yeah, it should add up to like 10 or less. But the fact that we already like see them, it doesn't really matter that it's like 3 or 4 of them. And what matters is that we have an idea of what we can separate out. So what we at this point, what we have the brown tables, we have the brown sittings, we have the white tables, we have the cream floor, we have the shadows on the floor. And what we'll be left with will be something that we will have to see for ourselves. So I'm recommending right now to take those pieces out.
so the brown, white, and shadow.
Yeah, and the light floor if you find any.
Yeah. Okay.
And try to distinguish the brown table from the brown sittings as well. Because the sittings are very, very difficult. Also, what is very important is to be able to prioritize what you're actually looking for. So let's say that we have a piece that has both brown table and white table. What do we prioritize? What would you say?
I would say that I would start with the brown ones, so then I would prioritize that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is that even if you didn't make this decision that you want to start with something, if you look at the image, you'll see that there are only 2 brown tables and multiple white.
Yeah.
Alright,
So do I do this now? Yes?
Yeah. Let's go for that. Also, at this point, don't be scared of just looking at the piece and thinking where it should go, and if you can find it on the image, just place it where it should go.
I think with these rest of the pieces, I have really much trouble, like just trying to look at the picture and see where it goes. I don't know why.
Right, so the other thing that you can look at with this puzzle is how big the chair is. If you, on the piece you have some strange bits of white, brown chair, floor, something, if the chair thing is big, it should be closer to you on the image. And if it's small, it's farther away. This is very obvious, but sometimes people can forget that for photographs, those rules always apply.
Yeah.
What we can also try to look at, since we know that the tables are at around the same level as the chairs, right? Since we know that, we also know that the top section of the chairs will be visible with the white pieces. So if we can just look at the white pieces and rotate them in such a way that those chairs are like standing upright, and for most of the pieces it is very quick to do. It will help us recognize where the piece should go. So let's say I'm looking at this piece, I see that this is a very big chair, this has white, so it should go somewhere at the table that is right here, right? Or here or here. So is it here? Yes, it is. Now let's take this piece. This is also very big chair. It also has white, so it can go also in two places. Do we know where it goes? If we don't, go to the next one. And we just continue like this. And we are left with no pieces that we can analyze. Then at some point we just have to shape sort. This is the only way. So try to judge the size of the chair. Look at the color of the table to be able to map it in the image. Yeah. And if we are left with no options, we just have to go back to the main pile and think about what is the main color that is again standing out. And at this point, I would say that the most standing out color is the very dirty cream. Would you agree?
I think they all look pretty much the same.
So do you have any pieces that have the light floor on them? Do you still have some of them?
Yeah, but there's just like so much other stuff in the pieces.
Yeah, but we cannot be overwhelmed with the other stuff. We just have to look for the thing that we know where it goes. So if there is anything with the white floor, go for it. It always have to connect to something that you already have, right? The section that is...
Actually, well, yeah, I think you're right.
I also take the floor to be at the same point. Oh, I also have some leaves. The next stage would be to try to find the most like busy pieces. So not necessarily, we are not now trying to look for something specific, we are just trying to look for something very, very busy. And what will help us with is that we know that those very, very, very busy pieces with all of the colors, they should go somewhere at the background, right? Not to the front tables, but somewhere at the background, maybe to the sides. So
Yeah.
if we can find those, they should help us a lot.
Okay.
Also, don't be afraid to look at the image more often. Sometimes you'll find a piece that have a leaf on it or something specific like what table leg. This is also very fun. If you can spot a table leg, you can also try to look for that, because the table legs have only one orientation, and the only thing in the whole puzzle that can be white and not be a tabletop, which is like very, very white, right? If there exists something like this, then it has to be the leg, so it has to be vertical, and it narrows down the option how to put the piece. And also, most of the time, the chair is on the piece, so you can combine the leg with the chair, and it's like kind of... Yeah, this is very convoluted.
Yeah, and these are just like the sections that I get very frustrated, and I know, like, if I would be having a really... Yeah, I don't know if it's a real thing, but I have noticed, like, if I'm, for example, like thinking that, okay, I will do this puzzle sub 40 minutes, and then because I'm listening to the same playlist all the time, so I know if I'm like getting there or not. And if I notice that I'm not getting there, I get really frustrated, and I think it slows me down quite a lot. Like, compared if I'm... So it's kind of like when you start a new section, it's actually like if you're lucky or not, like you said. Because if I'm lucky at first, then I probably get the good momentum and keep going. But if I don't start good, then I know I'm definitely not going to finish good. You know what I mean?
I think I ran out to the same problem at some point, because I also started using music to boost myself. But at some point I realized the same thing that you mentioned, that since you know the playlist so well, and you know which song is where, and something like this, then it kind of gives you the... you feel as though someone is watching you and it's judging you that it's too slow, and you expected yourself to do it faster, and this song is coming up and it's not... normally I don't achieve that song. I don't even like last that long, and it can be frustrating to have a repetitiveness while doing a new puzzle. That's what I stopped listening to music. And that's what I stopped actually singing to myself. Initially, it started because I was like, I will be disqualified at Worlds if I start singing. Um, and because I was singing like every time I was speed puzzling, and it was some random stuff in a loop and sped up, like very strange things happened in my life. And I stopped singing again, so I didn't have this. If you mum or like sing to yourself and it's sped up, you have this rhythm going on, but it's dependable on you, right? So if you feel like you're slowing down, you can like think in your head to cool down or to go faster or to like think about the music that will go to make you go faster. But at the same time, when you are just listening to the playlist that you already assembled and you have something that you know and it's always the same thing, it can go both ways, right? You just said that if you are going fast at the very beginning and you feel well, and the songs are actually giving you the confidence boost, because if you look at the puzzle, let's say you are halfway done and it's only like, I don't know, the fourth song, you're like, oh, this is going so amazing, and you will go even faster. But in the example you just provided, it can go both ways. So it is very like it is a gamble to have the same playlist over and over again. So I would say I would recommend to have a playlist that have a random order of songs. This could change things up for you. It will be confusing at first, but maybe it will work out well.
I
What
can
would you
try
say?
it. I have now so many things to try. Pieces on the left side and trying not to sort everything at once and
So I'm happy I gave you some ideas. Have you noticed anything different while doing this puzzle together about this puzzle? Like you didn't notice something before, or you noticed some tendency in the puzzle, or I don't know, anything?
I think I can't say right yet because this was so different than normally because we were splitting it up in smaller sections. So I think what I'm going to do this tomorrow by myself and trying to remember your wise words and then see if I made some progress.
I hope you do. What would be so? I think this will be interesting. What would be the time improvement that you would be satisfied with?
Well, I've always wanted to do the sub 40, and I never could do that. I think the last time I did it, maybe September, October or something. I think it was maybe like 43 minutes or something. So I'm aiming sub 40.
Well, that's a great goal for this one, especially if we consider the fact that only 2 people did it in under 40 1 year ago, right? And it is Alejandro and Kristen who we are talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was great. I have to check the chat to see. Oh, there is a question, and I think this is also a good question to ask you. Is your lamp, aka light, on your left side, or do you have it like up? How do you call it?
It's on the left.
It's on the left, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you're, again, this is a new thing that you're going to benefit from if you have the pieces on the left. I don't know if you have any glare at all, but if you'll be having those pieces on the right side, you'll be facing away from the light. So most probably you will see more details on the puzzle. But then the other thing is that you probably will see less of those on in the main pile because it will be on the left. So what you'll have to do is actually what you are doing right now, but flipped, right? Because you're already not necessarily like rotating to get those pieces, you're just moving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what you will have to do for the left side as well, I would say. Because, because at this stage, if you just rotate, you'll be having the exact light reflecting of the pieces, right? So for the left side, you'll have to move if you have the light on the light side or the left side. And answering the question, because it was actually a question for me, I have the light is on the left of the table, but actually it's in a position that is shining on the table, so it's like on the very edge of the table on the left side, and it's kind of in front of me, so it is not very good for me to do this movement that is just mentioned, because I sometimes get the glare, so I have to sometimes do something like this and to be able to see the pieces. The light is very good, but yeah, the perfect condition would be to have like this big light, but not in the front, but like at the same position as yourself, so that you don't have any shadow that you are casting, and also you don't have any glare by looking at this direction. Yeah, and the other thing for you, Rina, is to try to move to the pieces, not necessarily like to relocate. This is also something you can try to work on, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that was it from the questions. Yeah. So one last thing I have to say, I cannot wait to meet you at Finnish Nationals. This will be so fun. I hope we get to do a puzzle together, whatever the puzzle will be.
I was just thinking, like, if you're actually waiting to meet me or just to meet my puzzles that I promised to borrow you.
Don't say that. No, I totally want to meet you as well. I don't think I think it was only Hannah that I mentioned it to, but actually Rina, full props to Rina. Rina is like the OG, like the nemesis puzzle, speed puzzle nemesis for me. I remember when I was starting, I was like, wow, this Rina is so fast. And it took me so much time to be able to finally be at the same level as Rina. And it's like insane that I get to talk to her, and it's like, wow. So everyone, please give big cheers to Rina and say some nice words to her in the Instagram. Please follow her on Instagram as well. And yeah, we'll be meeting ourselves
But
in
now
the
I want to
Finland.
give my speech, like it was like a year ago, maybe when we were Eagle, but now I don't know. And I feel really bad about it because I remember I was also like, it's really funny because I was also like, I think all the last year, like I was always just like, oh, this Victor, and I want to get better time. And then like, because I didn't know who you are, and I was just like, picturing you by myself. And then I was watching the words last year, and I was like, oh, is that Victor? Because I was thinking that you're like, mean and everything because you were my nemesis. And then I was like, oh, is that really Victor? But yeah, but I don't know what happened like in the past, I think 4 months at least, because now you're like 10 minutes faster than I am, and it's actually really depressing.
You are not giving yourself too much credit. Like, there are puzzles that we are still even on. Like, let's take the castles, the 4 pack from the castles from Britain, and I don't know, the one from, do I have it here? No, but the one with the painting of the it was like a Italian scenery with like a lake or something like this. I don't know.
Oh,
Like, I'm just so sure that the Finland nationals would be so fierce. Like, there are so many people that I am so scared of, and you're at the very top of that list.
thank you. I don't know why, but
No, because you're like one of the fastest puzzlers in the world, maybe.
no,
No, no,
no,
no, no, not at all.
no. No. But actually, it's also like I'm this year. I'm trying not to take too much pressure on like that I have to be fast. So I'm not one of the fastest ones in the world. Maybe one of the fastest ones in Finland, but we'll see that in 1 month, 5 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah,
what happens?
yeah, this is not so long. Whoa, only just over a month for Finnish nationals.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I will see you soon.
Yeah. I can't wait to meet you, and thank you to everyone who was sitting here with us today. And I hope you'll learn something as well from our conversations. I think you could have seen the 2 different types of speed puzzlers that are very, very fast, and I hope it was enjoyable to see. And I'm very sorry for the quality of my camera, but at least this time the quality of audio is very good. All right. See you next time, everyone. And I think I will just stay for a bit with Rufina here. But I'm finishing up the live stream. So thank you, everyone, again. And see you in the next video that will be posted. I don't know which one it will be and what puzzle it will be. But for sure, something will be there for you to see. Bye.
Bye.